In a world already grappling with geopolitical tensions, the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia continues to escalate, drawing in global political figures and raising critical humanitarian concerns. Recent events have underscored the dire situation in Ukraine, particularly in the wake of a deadly Russian missile strike that claimed 5 lives and injured dozens in Izium, a town in the Kharkiv region. The attack, which targeted civilian infrastructure, has intensified calls for international accountability and response as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the brutality of such strikes. Adding another layer to the complex dynamics of the conflict, former U.S. President Donald Trump has made headlines by demanding that Ukraine provide the United States with rare earth metals as a condition for continued military aid. This demand, articulated during a press conference at the White House, reflects a significant shift in the conversation surrounding U.S. support for Ukraine. Trump stated, "We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earths. We're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earths and other things." This proposition, initially suggested by Zelensky as part of a broader strategy to end the war, highlights the intertwining of economic interests and military support in international relations. The missile strike on Izium occurred as Russian forces employed ballistic missiles targeting the town's central district and causing substantial damage to residential and administrative buildings. Eyewitness reports indicate that rescuers are still working to recover individuals trapped beneath the rubble, with Regional Governor Ola Syniehubov confirming the tragic loss of life. In response to the attack, Zelensky emphasized the need for maximum pressure on Russia through military, diplomatic, and economic means, signaling Ukraine's determination to defend its sovereignty amidst continued aggression. Amidst the violence, the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) has also raised alarms regarding the safety of Ukraine's nuclear infrastructure, warning that ongoing attacks on the power grid could lead to catastrophic nuclear incidents. IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi, who visited Kyiv, underscored the precarious nature of Ukraine's energy security, particularly in light of repeated Russian attacks on critical infrastructure. The implications of a nuclear accident during wartime are profound, not just for Ukraine but for the broader European region. The ongoing conflict has also prompted reactions from international leaders and organizations. In the UK, government officials have reiterated their advice against travel to Ukraine, following calls from former politicians to join the fight. This comes as the British government seeks to balance support for Ukraine with the need to ensure the safety of its citizens. As the war enters its 3rd year, the scale of human suffering continues to mount. Reports of civilian casualties, including the tragic injuries of a 15-year-old girl during the Izium strike, paint a grim picture of the ongoing humanitarian crisis. Simultaneously, the conflict shows no signs of abating, with both sides engaged in a race to innovate and adapt their military strategies. Ukrainian forces have reportedly conducted successful drone strikes against critical Russian infrastructure, a testament to their resilience and tactical ingenuity. The dynamics of the Ukraine-Russia conflict are ever evolving, influenced by foreign policy shifts, military developments, and humanitarian needs. As the international community watches closely, the call for a negotiated resolution becomes increasingly urgent. The intertwining of military aid, geopolitical strategies, and the quest for stability underscores the complexity of the situation. Looking ahead, the path to peace remains fraught with challenges, but the resilience of the Ukrainian people and the support of the global community may ultimately shape the future of the region. In a notable escalation in the ongoing Ukraine-Russia war, former President Donald Trump has made a striking demand from Ukraine, calling for guarantees of rare earth mineral supplies as compensation for the substantial U.S. military aid extended to Kyiv. This request comes amid a fresh wave of violence, with a recent Russian missile strike in Izium resulting in the tragic deaths of 5 civilians and injuries to over 30 others. Speaking from the White House on February 3, Trump highlighted the value of Ukraine's rare earth minerals, stating, "We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earths. We're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earths and other things." His remarks underscore a potential shift in U.S.-Ukraine relations, particularly as Kyiv seeks to solidify its military support amidst relentless Russian aggression. The missile attack in Izium, which struck a residential building and administrative facilities, has drawn sharp condemnation from Ukrainian officials. Governor Ola Syniehubov reported on Telegram that the strike was executed with a ballistic missile, causing significant civilian casualties and extensive damage. President Volodymyr Zelensky responded vigorously, denouncing the attack as brutality that cannot be tolerated and calling for maximum pressure on Russia through military, diplomatic, and sanctions measures. The backdrop to these developments includes a sustained pattern of violence that has characterized the conflict since Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. As the war approaches its third anniversary, the humanitarian toll continues to mount, with civilians bearing the brunt of military actions. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal declared that only force and pressure could halt Russia's offensive, emphasizing the urgent need for a robust international response. Amidst these tensions, the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) has expressed grave concerns regarding the safety of Ukraine's nuclear facilities, particularly in light of ongoing attacks on the electricity grid. IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi, visiting Kyiv, noted that disruptions to power supplies could pose nuclear risks, highlighting the precarious intersection of military operations and civilian safety in the conflict. The conflict is also seeing significant technological advancements, particularly in drone warfare. Ukrainian forces have reportedly conducted successful drone strikes against Russian oil and gas infrastructure, demonstrating an evolving tactical landscape. Colonel Vadim Sukharevsky of Ukraine's Unmanned Systems Forces stated that Ukrainian forces have executed over 220 strikes using drones in 2024 alone, indicating a strategic pivot towards incorporating advanced unmanned systems in military operations. As the war continues to evolve, the implications of Trump's demand for rare earth minerals may extend beyond immediate military considerations. Rare earth elements are critical for various technologies, including those used in military applications and renewable energy sectors. Securing these resources could potentially enhance U.S. technological capabilities while positioning Ukraine as a key player in global supply chains. Looking ahead, the trajectory of the Ukraine-Russia conflict remains uncertain. The combination of international military support, the strategic value of resources like rare earth minerals, and the ongoing humanitarian crisis paints a complex picture. As both sides adapt to the realities of war, the global community watches closely, anticipating the next moves in this high-stakes geopolitical chess game. The demand for a comprehensive approach to end the violence remains more pressing than ever, with future developments likely to shape the political landscape for years to come. In a striking move reminiscent of Cold War-era cultural diplomacy, Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced the revival of a Soviet-era music competition, the Intervision, as a direct response to the ongoing geopolitical tensions and Russia's exclusion from the Eurovision Song Contest. This newly established contest is set to take place in the Moscow region later this year and has been positioned by the Kremlin as an opportunity to showcase Russian artistic talent, while simultaneously fostering closer ties with allied nations. The decision to create Intervision comes nearly 3 years after Russia was barred from participating in Eurovision following the country's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The European Broadcasting Union had deemed that allowing a Russian entry would tarnish the integrity of the competition. According to state media reports, the contest will be overseen by Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Chernyshenko and Domestic Policy Chief Sergei Kiriyenko, highlighting the Kremlin's intention to exert significant control over the event's proceedings and outcomes. Putin's initiative is not without historical precedent. The original Intervision contests were held during the Soviet era between 1965 and 1980, showcasing performances from allied nations. This nostalgic revival signals a desire to recapture a sense of cultural solidarity among Russia and its partners, particularly in the face of Western sanctions and isolation. In December, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov indicated that over 25 countries, including those from Latin America, had expressed interest in participating, suggesting a potential for a diverse lineup that could bolster Russia's cultural influence internationally. However, the new contest is likely to diverge significantly from Eurovision's celebrated inclusivity and diversity, especially regarding LGBTQ+ representation. As Russia imposes stringent laws against LGBTQ+ rights domestically, observers anticipate that Intervision will reflect the Kremlin's conservative values and its strategic efforts to cultivate a distinct cultural identity separate from Western norms. Amid these developments, the situation in Eastern Europe continues to evolve, with protests erupting in Georgia against the government's perceived drift towards Moscow. Citizens are rallying against the ruling party's decision to halt EU integration talks, fearing an impending authoritarian shift. The protests underscore the fragile state of democracy in the region and the broader implications of Russian influence, which threatens to undermine decades of Western efforts to promote democratic governance in post-Soviet states. The interplay between cultural initiatives like Intervision and the political landscape in Eastern Europe illustrates the multifaceted nature of contemporary geopolitical struggles. As Putin seeks to revive Soviet-era ideologies and alliances, the international community remains vigilant, aware that these cultural maneuvers are intertwined with more profound aspirations for political dominance and influence in the region. In conclusion, the launch of Intervision not only serves as a cultural counterpoint to Eurovision but also reflects a broader strategy by the Kremlin to reassert its presence on the global stage amid ongoing conflicts and diplomatic isolation. As tensions persist, the outcomes of both the music contest and the political scenarios in countries like Georgia will be critical in shaping the future dynamics of Eastern European geopolitics. Observers will closely monitor how these developments unfold, particularly as they may influence the trajectory of democracy and governance in the region. In a provocative announcement that has sparked significant debate, U.S. President Donald Trump suggested that continued American military aid to Ukraine could hinge on access to the country's rare earth minerals. Speaking from the Oval Office on Monday, Trump stated, "We're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earth and other things." This remark raises questions about the intersection of military support and economic interests in the ongoing conflict with Russia. Ukraine, which possesses substantial reserves of critical minerals such as lithium and titanium, has been in a precarious position since the escalation of hostilities with Russia in 2022. Trump highlighted the strategic importance of these resources, asserting, "We're putting in hundreds of billions of dollars. They have great rare earth and I want security of the rare earth, and they're willing to do it." This potential trade-off could reshape the dynamics of U.S.-Ukraine relations, emphasizing the economic dimensions of military assistance. The proposal comes amid Ukraine's ongoing struggle to repel Russian advances, particularly in the energy sector. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in his daily address underscored the critical need for air defense systems and the importance of modernizing the armed forces. "We must constantly search worldwide for ways to strengthen defense," he urged, indicating a broader strategy that includes enhancing international partnerships and resource management. However, reactions to Trump's suggestion have been mixed. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz criticized the proposal as very egotistic, very self-centered, arguing that such resources are vital for Ukraine's post-war rebuilding efforts. Scholz's comments reflect a growing concern among European leaders about the implications of tying military aid to resource extraction, which could undermine Ukraine's autonomy in the long term. The Kremlin quickly responded to Trump's remarks, with spokesperson Dmitry Peskov calling the proposal a blatant attempt to buy help. He stated it would be better, of course, for the assistance to not be provided at all, as that would contribute to the end of this conflict, highlighting Russia's perspective on the ongoing war. This reaction underscores the geopolitical tensions surrounding Ukraine's valuable mineral reserves, which are not only essential for modern technology but also represent a significant economic asset in the global market. As the conflict continues to evolve, the implications of Trump's proposal are far-reaching. While the U.S. seeks to bolster its position in the high-stakes arena of rare earth minerals, Ukraine must navigate the delicate balance between securing military aid and maintaining sovereignty over its resources. The ongoing war has already devastated much of the country's infrastructure and economy, making the management of its natural resources even more critical. Looking ahead, the unfolding situation will likely influence international discussions surrounding military aid and resource management in conflict zones. Ukraine's ability to assert control over its mineral wealth while securing necessary support from allies will be pivotal in shaping its future. The coming weeks will reveal whether the U.S. will formalize any agreements regarding mineral access and how such moves will resonate within the broader context of global resource politics and military strategy.